King of Kings. It is well. I'm the king.
Hello guys, and welcome to another Trep video. Of course, I am King of Kings Trep, and I'm back. Okay, you may have noticed, if you've been on my channel before, that I haven't posted some videos in a long time. I do apologise for that. If you're new to my channel, well, obviously you're new to the channel, so you haven't noticed that. I am back. I have spent a couple of weeks now playing with all of the new things in the game, weapon mastery, the changes to earth powers, all of the other goodies that we've got, to get a good idea of how to use them, and so I can show you guys. The first video I'm going to be doing is a loadout video for the new long range earth DPS. This is going to be taking advantage of all the changes to earth's power set, but also the weapon mastery. Now, before we begin, it's basically, if you've checked out any of my old videos, obviously you'll see that, you know, depending on which video you're watching, we don't use that many weapon attacks, so it's just a clip a simple attack. Okay, since weapon mastery, you need to be clipping a weapon mastery attack to do the most damage. It's changed the way that people DPS, so it's important that you learn this new dynamic and that you follow these videos rather than the older ones. Not to say that the old loadouts aren't great or didn't work well, but they're just not designed for the changes in the game. Okay, so this is going to be a longer range loadout video. Okay, so this is for when you're in things like Nexus or Paradox or one of the newer alerts, and you can sort of sit away a little bit. It does, however, work very well close up as well. Okay, now first of all, we're going to go into the Geokinesis tree. Okay, and pretty much we're going to buy everything in this tree. Okay, now before we used to, or I used to at least avoid using a crushed loadout. The reason being that the only way to really crush a group of enemies was rumble crush, and it was a terrible move. You picked a stone out of the floor, it took forever to do. You then had to throw that stone. That took a long time as well. Sometimes it would hit graphics, so it wouldn't actually hit your enemies, and by the time you'd done that, you know, everyone else would have just done a couple of rotations. It just lost too much time, and there was no way to clip it, there was no way of using it, pretty much. Since the update, they have fixed this. They've made it so that it smashes above an enemy. You don't need to pick anything out of the floor, it's just a quick attack. Okay, which means that we can now use a crush loadout very well. Okay. On top of what we're doing here, so we've got all these powers. We're going to be using all the ones at the end, that's why we bought them all. I normally buy Meteor Shower as well. I don't actually have it sat on my loadout, but I do switch it in and out for my pet, depending on what content I'm doing, which is more appropriate, really. For the seismic tree, we're not actually going to buy anything. The seismic tree is now really only for a day's loadout. So when we're doing our close range days loadout, which I will do for you later, and I actually do use for PvP as well, that's when you want to be buying stuff in here. But for this loadout, don't need anything. In iconics, we're going to grab our two iconic weapon buffs, and then you can have 2 power points, which is up to you what you want to spend them on. I always use the power, then either defense or health. Okay, right, so let's set up our loadout. First of all, we're going to put our 2 buffs at the end. Okay, these are the first things I hit when I come in. Now, I did say buffs. You may be confused because totem is a damage over time, but it is also a buff. Okay, conjure an earth totem that damages and knocks down nearby enemies. Okay, that's nice. Increases your chance to crit. That's the bit that we want. Okay, for weapon mastery, when you crit on a weapon mastery, you do insane numbers, and that's what we want. The more times we crit, the more damage we're doing. So anything we can do to increase our crit chance, we're going to be doing. It does help by healing our golem as well, and as we're using a pet, that's useful, but it's mainly for the chance to crit. On top of that, we have reinforce. This again increases your precision, and it also increases your critical attack chance. So both of these increase your crit chance. Yeah. The other thing as well is reinforces a good clip. Totem takes forever to spawn, and you really don't want to be using that. You're wasting too much time if you're waiting for that animation to go. So you want to clip totem with reinforce. But basically by hitting these two, you'll hit 2 buffs. Next we've got striking stones, rumble crush, debris field, and I use a pet. Obviously, like I said, you can exchange this out if you prefer to have a supercharge sat there. You can also use Crystal Golem rather than Brick. Crystal Golem sits near you and does long range attacks, does quite heavy damage, really is a good pet. However, I prefer Brick. I prefer Brick for when I'm doing solo content or content where, you know, like alerts and things like that, because Brick will actually go out and tank pretty well now. Since it's buff, he can pull quite a lot of aggro, even in high level content, which means that you can stay back spamming your rotation. Okay, so you get knocked down less. Very, very good. But that one's up to you. So either a supercharge, Brick, or Crystal. Right. Okay, so first of all, let's go through the powers. Okay, so we have our 2 buffs, which is our our totem and our reinforce. Okay, so we want to be clipping totem with reinforce. As you can see, what that will do is bring out our little totem here, but it also won't take too long to do so. Both of those have just given us a crit bonus as well. They do damage over time. Obviously, the damage over time doesn't quite work right inspiring targets in our bases, but it will carry on doing damage for the full time. Okay, it stays up pretty much its entire cooldown, which is very good. Just means you can pretty much keep it up 24/7. Okay, we also have in the second slot Rumble Crush. Now Rumble Crush provides us with our power interaction. Okay, it crushes our enemy. Okay, so you can see it came off very quickly. The wiggly lines around the enemy, that means that they are crushed. Okay, it also does a damage over time. Obviously, again, damage over times don't show very well on the sparring targets, but it lasts for quite a while, really, good few seconds. So you know, it does a damage over time as well. It makes it a really good move. It's very quick, damage over time, and causes a power interaction. Okay, we then have our other damage over time, which is debris field. Okay, debris field does a nice amount of damage, crits very well, hits a large range of targets. I only really knock this down if it's a mob that I'm going to be using, you know, attacking for quite a while. Otherwise, I can pretty much take most things out a bit quicker without bothering. The other thing as well we have is striking stones. Okay, striking stones, as you can see, doesn't hit that hard. However, it does hit very, very hard once you've done a power interaction and when you're clipping a weapon mastery. It's very good for clipping weapon mastery. Okay, so what is weapon mastery? Well, basically weapon mastery, I will go through that in another video, but basically is a new way that the powers work. Very quickly, just show you. I'm using hand blasters. Okay, so once you've unlocked it, you can actually clip in a different weapon. Okay, this is the one that I use for this mostly, is explosive shot mastery. Hold, tap, hold, and I'll show you what it does. Obviously, hold, solar flare, and then it does a bow attack, which does quite a lot of damage. It's sort of 2,491. Okay, now if you clip those as well, you're going to do some big damage. Okay, so this is the rotation that I generally use. I go straight into a weapon mastery attack, clip that with my buffs, provide the power interaction, put on my damage over time, and then start clipping with the 2 powers. Okay, now what I'm basically doing is clipping the end power with either Rumble Crush or Striking Stones. Okay, now I just throw in a Rumble Crush every now and then to ensure that they are continually crushed basically. As a general rule, your best clip is the striking stones. Okay, if you can time it right, you can do a very nice amount of damage. Hits like a truck, but it's also very quick to use. Okay, so what you want to be doing is just ensuring that you're always keeping your 2 buffs up, because that will give you basically extra crits. You want to be making sure they always have the power interaction on them, damage over time's on, and then you want to be keep clipping. Okay. Obviously, basically, it doesn't show too well on aspiring targets in your base because you don't see the damage over time sticking, and power interactions don't always stick as well. Okay, so basically, it's quite easy. You just want to be getting your power interactions, weapon mastery. Okay, so weapon mastery, clip your 2 power interactions, weapon mastery, rumble crush, weapon mastery. Then that's up to you if you want to use a debris field, if it's going to be a target that's going to stay up for quite a while. If not, go straight into your striking stones. Okay, striking stones is your quick attack basically, and that's pretty much it. Just keep doing that over. One thing I'll quickly mention as well, as you can see, if you time it right, you get that red aura around you, okay, and a weird noise. What that basically means is that you're going to be doing more damage. Okay, if you clip that correctly on the last power, you get the aura and you do more damage. If you don't clip it correctly, if you don't clip it, you do quite a lot of damage, but you don't get the red aura, you see. If you try and clip too early, you won't do that final attack and you don't get the extra damage. It's very important that you practice this and get it right. That's where your damage is, okay? More important than any loadout at the moment, or now, is clipping weapon mastery correctly and having at least 1 power on there that you can clip weapon mastery with. Okay, all of these are pretty quick, okay? So there's nothing that's going to take too long. I can pretty much just keep clipping quickly. So I missed that one. So do my most damage. Okay, so you want to just keep clipping weapon mastering. Okay, to clip it, you want to be getting it just as the shot would hit the target. That's where you want to be clicking it. Too early, too late, and you'll miss it. Just get a bit of practice. That's where you're going to be doing your damage. Alright, and that's pretty much it for this loadout. Okay, any questions, let me know. Obviously this is my first video in a while, so if I've missed anything, please let me know, and I'll try and make a correction for you. See you later guys, and thanks for watching my videos.